Right, Ms. Shear and Ms. Woodward, if you would both activate your audio and videos, please. And if you would both raise your right hands. Testimony in this case will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. It looks like, to me, this issue's already been decided.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Shear, looks like Commissioner Wool signed an order on the 7th of July adding the children's names.
Yeah, I also requested a modification because Alana is not respecting my boundaries at all. She beat me up and assaulted me, and I don't want my kids playing around her kid, and she will not respect that. And she says it's not fair, but she should have thought about that before she beat me up, because I will not allow my children to be around any of them ever. And she had cameras pointing towards my home. I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. They need to be respectful and leave me and my family alone. The judge didn't order it a distance that she needs to stay away from us, and I would appreciate if you would do that. Your Honor, the problem is that we are direct neighbors, so we need some kind of thing, like distance that she needs to stay away from my children and I.
Right. I understand what your legal issue is,
And I also want you to know that I'm also here to request a protection order against her mom because she tried to run us over.
I'm sure you're not going to get anywhere unless you only wait until I ask you to speak. All right. Question I have here is, it looks to me like the judge already has reviewed your petition that you filed, pointing all of this out, and decided the only thing he was going to do was add your children to the protection order. And he specifically made a choice not to put a distance restriction in because you are immediate neighbors. I think this issue has been resolved. He filed an amended order adding your children, but he decided not to change or add a distance restriction. He read your petition and decided not to do that. So there's nothing for me to do today in this regard. So you did not get what you asked for as far as the distance restriction. He did say that your children are added to the order. So I can't go back and revisit another judge's decision. Ms. Shear, just address that issue, please.
Can you at least tell me what this order does so that I can understand?
Buckle up, everyone. Today we're diving into a wild courtroom clash where a simple neighbor dispute explodes into accusations of assault, harassment, and protection orders. From the very first moment, as both parties are sworn in and the judge hints the outcome may already be written, the tension crackles. It's the perfect storm of drama, entitlement, and desperation, and it's only just beginning.
This order directs Ms. Woodward to cause no harm to you and your children. It tells her to have no contact with you or your children. Ms. Woodward is not to go onto your property. Or the daycare or school of your children. And it makes, Judge Wool made very clear that this order does not exclude Ms. Woodward from being on her own property. And those are restrictions. Now, the complaints you made earlier that you were assaulted, I don't know if that was prior to this order or not, but that's up to law enforcement. That's a crime. They can choose to make an arrest. They can choose to forward it to the prosecuting office. Enforcement of the order is up to the sheriff's office or the police.
The order was because of the assault. That is why I got the protection order.
All right, so you have an order, and whether Ms. is charged or not is not in the process of this order. That's up to the law enforcement. Hold on, we're not going to argue, you're just going to listen. You've asked a question, I'm going to give you some information. So you have an order that tells Ms. Woodward she can't have contact with you. It doesn't matter where you are, she can't have contact. So if you're telling me she's had contact, then the challenge for you is having evidence of that contact, witnesses or video or whatever that you can show to law enforcement to say, look, she's violating. The fact that there's not a distance restriction doesn't mean that the sheriff can't enforce it. They can. If there's proof that Ms. Woodward has had contact with you or your children after the entry of this order, then that's up to the law enforcement and the prosecutor's office to decide whether there's something there they can do to enforce that order. So do you understand that?
So I did call the police after Alana was sitting near my children, and the police said that it doesn't state in the order a distance.
That's correct. It does not.
They were confused that she can't be near my kids.
It doesn't say she can't be near them. It says she can't have contact with them. She can't say anything.
I don't want her near my children, and I have that right as a parent. I want her to stay away from my children.
Thank you, Ms. Scheer. We're going to end this on this particular case because the decision has been made. I cannot change another judge's decision. So as to Ms. Woodward, that decision has been made. I see you filed a petition regarding Ms. Paz, and I'll deal with that in a moment. But as to Ms. Woodward, that decision has been made by a judge. The decision says Ms. Woodward is to have no contact with your children. So that means she can't speak with them. She can't touch them. Doesn't tell her she has to be any distance from them. Just says she can't have contact with them or with you. And the judge was very clear about that. And that's the final decision on that.
Well, as a parent, I'm going to say my kids cannot be near her at all.
That's fine. That's fine. You make those parental decisions.
The first big moment hits when Miss Scheer unleashes her explosive claims. Her neighbor assaulted her, ignored boundaries, and even pointed cameras at her home. She calls for strict distance restrictions, but the judge pushes back, reminding her another court has already ruled against it. Her bid to drag the neighbor's mother into the dispute is swiftly shut down, and the tension in the room only climbs higher.
All right. Ms. Woodward, you're all done. Thank you.
What about her having cameras pointed towards my house, Your Honor?
I am not addressing anything regarding Ms. Woodward because Commissioner Wool already addressed the order. I'm not changing it. I don't have the right to do so.
No, but what about her having cameras pointed against my house? Isn't that illegal?
Sure.
And harassment?
Okay. I don't enforce the order. That's up to law enforcement. All right, Ms. Scheer, activate your audio, please. Tina Paz is Ms. Woodward's mother. Is that what I understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you describe one incident in here where you say that she drove around you and some friends over the speed limit in the apartment complex, and you said drove a circle around, looks like 3 of you. When did this occur?
This occurred the other day. This occurred on the day before I went into court the next day to get this order. So it had to have been Thursday night.
Okay. Did she say anything to you?
She came speeding at us, and at first I thought it, like I said in the order, I thought it was my other neighbor because she speeds through the complex. But then she was going towards us, so then I thought it was another girl that lived here that had yelled at my children earlier on. And then when she pulled into Alana's driveway at a speed and parked and got out of the car, I said, "Oh my God, that's Alana's mom." And she said, "Yep, sure is," just like that, and then slammed Alana's door as she was going in.
So.
And yes, my apartment complex has it on video.
Okay. And did you call the sheriff and have them look at the video?
The officers came out, but it was nighttime, so no, they did not see the video. But I did call in and let them know that the video was found by the landlord. Whether or not they saw it, I don't know, because the officer didn't get back to me.
Right. Does Ms. Paz live in the same apartment as her daughter?
Nope.
Does she live in the apartment complex at all?
Nope.
Has she ever said or done anything to you otherwise besides this incident?
Yeah, she's been rude to me always. Even when I was friends with Alana, she had an attitude towards me for no reason. She's not a very nice lady.
Okay. Well, we can't change how people's...
Okay, but don't you see how this is becoming an aggressive harassment towards me? Her mom tried to run me over.
Okay, which isn't a crime. So if law enforcement believes there's a crime there, they can charge her.
What they did was they advised me to get a protection order against her so that they could do.
This is where things heat up. The judge makes it crystal clear. A previous court already denied distance restrictions. The current order bars contact, not proximity. But Miss Shear won't let go, insisting her children shouldn't even be near the neighbor. The judge stays firm, laying out exactly what the order does and doesn't cover, while hinting that only evidence of violations, not more arguments, will move the needle.
Right. All right. So when was the last time prior to this incident that you had any contact with Ms. Potts?
She's here all the time.
Okay. So every day?
The other day, she's here, yeah, pretty much every day, every couple of days. She's here all the time.
What's the nature of the contact that you have with her when she's there?
I don't contact her at all. I have a protection order against her daughter. I haven't spoke to her at all. I didn't speak to her before or after the incident.
Sure.
I have no idea why she did that.
How does she
I don't see why this is funny.
Because
I don't feel safe.
We're not going to get anywhere unless you just listen and answer my questions. What is the nature of her contact with you? What are you asking me to stop?
To be honest, me and Lindsay wanted her 86 off the property because she tried to run us over.
Mm-hmm.
I want a protection order against her at the very least where she can't come near me or my kids again. If I had been holding my 1-year-old child when she drove near me like that, that would have been so scary.
And what makes you think that she did that on purpose?
I know she did it on purpose because she drove a circle around us in a parking lot. I don't think you understand. She drove a small circle around our bodies. We felt the heat on our legs. And then my neighbor talked to Alana, and her mom did that because she was mad that I said my kids couldn't play with Alana's boyfriend's nephew or brother. And it's my right, the officer said, to not have people around my children. I don't think you understand the brutal assault Alana did, and now her mom did that. I don't feel safe. And you guys aren't really protecting me or ordering anything that my landlord can do.
Well,
did I have to get ran over before something happens?
Tell me what else happened. Has she ever said anything to you? She threatened you. Ms. Paz.
Yes, that was threatening. What she did after I got a protection order against her daughter.
Anything other than the car? Has she said anything to you? She said, I'm going to get you because you had an order against my daughter. Has she said anything like that?
Does it have to come to that? I don't understand what you're saying. She drove towards me going 20 or 30 miles an hour.
So the answer is no. She hasn't said anything other than the incident. I'm asking, outside of the incident, what else has happened? You have an answer?
No, because I feel like I have to die or be injured really bad before you guys will do something. This is not funny to me. You're sitting there laughing. It is not funny to me. This is me and my family's life. I want Alana and her family to leave me and my family alone. I have lived here for...
Frustration boils over. The judge explains that enforcement rests with the police, not the court, and that any violations must be supported by proof. Miss Shea presses her parental rights, but the judge cuts in, reminding her he can't override the previous ruling. The exchange grows increasingly combative. She demands distance. He insists on finality. It's a clash of stubborn will against unmovable legal reality.
I am not going to allow her children to play with my children.
This is not about...
I'm not going to allow her to be around my children just because you guys think it's funny. This is a serious matter to me, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Shear, number one, we're not talking about the order with Ms. Woodward because I told you another judge has already decided that. I cannot do anything.
I asked for a modification. How can you not modify it?
The judge already did the modification, added your children, decided not to add a distance restriction. That decision had...
Can I ask you a question? How do you know he decided that? Because I was told that he was adding my children because he was supposed to be added before, and that I was going to court today about the modification. That is what I was told.
That's not what I see here. I see that he saw your petition, and specifically wrote on there, he wrote that Ms. Woodward can be wherever she wishes relative to her property. She can't have contact with, or your children. That was made very clear on his order. I cannot revisit that order.
You mean the first order, not the modification?
No, the modification. So I
would
cannot.
like to see that because I don't.
Okay, so we're not arguing that. We're talking about Ms. Paz. You want me to issue a no contact order against Ms. Paz. I need some information from you. I understand what you've told me about her circling around you in her vehicle. Has anything else regarding Ms. Paz occurred that makes you believe she is threatening you besides the automobile incident?
That is all I needed to feel unsafe. So no, that's the only thing that she's done so far. But that doesn't mean more won't happen if you do nothing about this.
I understand that.
The officers believed I should get a protection order.
Okay. Sheriffs always say that because then they can stop an investigation. So if there is a video, I strongly suggest that you call the sheriff and ask them to look at the video, because what you're describing is a potential vehicular assault, and that's a crime, a very serious crime. And if they look at the video and are satisfied that in fact that's what occurred, they can forward that to the prosecutor's office for filing of a criminal charge. But if they don't look at it, they can say, yeah, go get a protection order, but nothing really changes. So if there is a video,
I'm still very much going to ask them to get that video, very much so.
Well, okay.
But in the meantime, if that is what occurred, don't you think I should get some protection?
So telling people not to commit crimes doesn't mean they didn't commit a crime. So I can order everybody in the world don't commit a crime, but that's not much protection. So if there's a crime been committed, I strongly suggest that you follow up on that.
There was a crime committed. She was driving right for us. We had to move out of the way so she didn't hit us. And then she sped around us in a circle and then flew into the... It's 5 miles per hour here.
Okay. Well, you may want to get a copy of that video, because what you told me...
I don't know how to get a copy of that video.
Well, you can contact the sheriff's office. You can verify with the apartment complex that in fact there is a video that shows...
Oh, we know there's a video. Lindsay already verified with the manager's husband that there was a video found.
Okay. And did the sheriff see it?
I told you, I called and requested that sheriff that was here that night to call me back, and he has not, and it might be...
The testimony turns increasingly desperate. Miss Shea claims PS actions were deliberate, circling them out of anger. She insists she and her children are in danger, accusing the court of dismissing her fears. But the judge keeps pressing. Aside from that single incident, what else happened? The answer, nothing. What emerges is a stark picture of fear colliding with hard legal thresholds, and the tension in the courtroom is palpable.
I don't control the sheriff. I can't order them to do anything. So
I'm going to call that when I'm done here and follow up on that. But I'm just asking you if I can get a protection order for what happened. The more that they get away with, the more they feel like they can get away with.
All right. You need to understand there's a limit to what these orders can do. And you've already found that out on the order regarding Ms. Woodward. Judges made a decision.
I don't understand why she was able to assault me in front of my children and then be around my children.
I'm not the one who made that decision. That decision has been made. I don't revisit it. So that's what the court's decision was. I suspect it was because she lives next door to you, and the judge was not inclined to force her out of that apartment.
He doesn't have to. I asked for a distance outside that she needed to remain away from us. That's all I asked for. Doesn't matter. I'll just have to enforce it with my children, I guess. That sucks. My kids will have to leave the park if she comes there. I'm so tired of dealing with this situation. I just want them to leave us alone.
Judge's order regarding Ms. Woodward tells her to do that.
But what about the cameras? She's allowed to have them pointed at my home?
Do you have any video that she's taken from the camera or photos?
How would I have that? We don't speak.
All right. So that's a really hard one to enforce. So that's typically why we don't address those issues on protection orders. Because lots of people do things like that, and then they say, well, my camera's just my security camera, and take in other things. So I don't see any basis for me to issue an order regarding that. I am going to issue a temporary protection order against Ms. Paz, telling her to have no contact with you or your children, not to come within 10 feet of you or your children.
What about my boyfriend? He is Aaron, that she also drove around.
If he wants an order, he has to file a request for an order. Only one person files a request. There will be a hearing on this issue on the 15th of September, just like this. And Ms. Paz served.
Do I get it from the, do I call the civil department to get the Zoom link and everything?
It will be emailed to you.
Okay.
So hold on just a minute.
Okay. Sorry and thank you. I don't feel safe anymore here.
Well, you need to understand that there are limits to what the court can do to a protection order. And if you understanding, sure, stop. If you stand what those limits are and you think that's not enough protection for me, you may have to make different decisions as a parent on what you're going to do. But there is a limit to what the court can do. So you need to understand that, and it may not meet all your needs. So you may have to make other decisions.
Well, how do we get the officers to understand that in the order against Alana, it states that she...
The final stretch is explosive. Miss Shear doubles down, accusing the court of failing to protect her until something terrible happens. The judge reiterates that only law enforcement can act on potential crimes and urges her to make sure police review the video. Still, she demands immediate protection, but without evidence the judge won't move. It's a tense conclusion, the legal wall holding firm against her emotional pleas. And that's where it ends. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.
That says she can't have contact. So, for example...
I wouldn't want to be around somebody that beat me up.
Right. But the court hasn't ordered any distance restriction.
Fortunately, yeah. The officers also have limitations to what they can do, so I feel like there's not a lot of protection here.
If Ms. Woodward yells at you, talks to your children, talks to you, sends you a note, emails you, that's contact. And you can provide evidence of that contact to law enforcement, and they can then enforce the order. But if she's outside and you're outside, there's nothing in the order that tells her she can't be there. But if she says things to you or to your children, that would violate the order. So you do have...
So she cannot speak to us, touch us, anything. She can be near us as long as she doesn't talk to us or touch us.
The order says, correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And as pointed out, the issue is going to be, when you call police, is to have some evidence that she's done that. So either witnesses who will tell them that that's what happened, or a video of it happening, or you telling them that's what happened, and they'll decide whether they believe that's enough evidence to go forward. But that's up to them. That's not part of the order.
Yeah, I just don't think they're understanding the order either. They're very confused with the order themselves. They don't see a distance, so they don't know what to do.
Right. Well, the order is very clear in what it says, and they can decide whether there's evidence of a violation of the order. And that's seemingly, to me, that's what you're really frustrated about, is the inability to have the order enforced and their reluctance to do so. And I can't change that. That's...
Well, what if my kids are playing with the neighbor kids, right? This is what happened the other day. I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep dragging this on forever. I just want to know if this is a violation or not. She didn't talk to my kid, but So my kid's friends were saying that they couldn't play with her kid because I don't let my kid be around her kid, right? And she was like, "That's not fair. That's not fair." So then my kid went inside to get away from him.
Okay, I'm not sure who said that's not fair.
Alana was saying, "That's not fair. That's not fair." And you know what wasn't fair? What wasn't fair is when she came into my house and beat me up in front of my children. That's what wasn't fair.